Hi, everyone. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order on July 3rd, and it is 7 o'clock, almost 6:59. Okay, we're still a little early. I'm going to wait until 7 o'clock. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. So first item on the agenda is the first Selectmen's report. And tomorrow, July 4th, the Monuments and Ceremonies Commission will hold a Declaration Day ceremony. It'll start at 9:30 at the Darien High School courtyard, and it'll be about a 25-minute event. It will include selected readings from the Declaration of Independence, recognition of Darien students, including those currently attending military academies and university ROTC programs, the naming of Revolutionary War soldiers from what is now Darien, formerly the Middlesex Parish, and there'll be patriotic music, and I believe one of our selectmen might be making a guest appearance there. We will then, following that, the annual push and pull parade will follow at 10 o'clock from the high school. Parade participants will march down Norotan Avenue to the VFW building over by McGuan Park. The families should arrive at the high school at 9:45 with their decorated bikes, scooters, wagons, and non-motorized vehicles. Festivities will continue at the VFW building, and the event is free and open to the public. There is a suggested donation of $20 payable to the VFW Post if you would like to help support it and its headquarters. So I'm hoping that whoever's in town tomorrow, if you are watching this, or my fellow selectmen, if you can join us, that would be terrific. You all know this is super fun, and we need all the help we can to keep those tricycles under control. So fireworks for Darien are scheduled for Friday, July 14th at the high school, and the rain date is July 15th, the next day. So please check the Park and Rec website for event details and how to purchase parking passes. As the forest fires in Canada continue to burn, our health department continues to monitor the air quality here in Darien. A June 30th deep air quality press release is posted under news on the homepage and on our website, and includes helpful links for daily updates on air quality. And that's all I have. Kate, do we have any public comment from residents? Any emails?
I have not received any comments by email.
Okay. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak?
If you would electronically raise your hand if you wish to speak. Not seeing anything.
Okay. All right. So this evening, I would like to begin by reflecting on the significant journey that we have taken over the last few months. On April 3rd.
Excuse me, Monica.
I'm sorry?
The noise ordinance is first.
Oh, the noise ordinance. I'm looking at the wrong. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes, the noise ordinance. We're doing appointments after that. So you know what? Tonight, I wanted to sort of start this discussion, and the reason it's kind of come up is because we've had a number of different requests and noise complaints. And it's they end up in this office, and it could be, it's train noise. And we're doing Westcog is doing the noise abatement study. So that is being addressed there. We have had complaints about construction. We've had complaints about church bells. We've had complaints about garbage trucks and the timing of pickups. We've had some shooting range complaints, and we've had we had a request, I should say. The chief brought it to me that there was a religious organization that was interested in driving through neighborhoods and
they wanted to broadcast
the gospel
from the car.
But probably the most as far as numerous and regular complaints are on leaf blowers. So I thought because we've had a number of different types of complaints from residents, as well as some, pretty repetitive on leaf blowers, that we should take a look at this. So I'm going to send it over to Kate. She took a look at different communities and can kind of go through what she found there.
So what I prepared and was in your packet is one is a chart of significant pieces of ordinances that other Fairfield County towns have, and then just a listing of some of the things you will typically find in a noise ordinance. Important to know that if we want to pass a noise ordinance, it has to pass DEEP, the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. They have to approve it. So I also gave you the link where you can go and see all the local ordinances that have been approved by DEEP. And you can see that they often take the same form. But the things you would need to think about would be who would enforce it. That's pretty big deal. Well, and a lot of these things you could pass on to the RTM to decide, but they identify who can grant a variance from the ordinance. They all give hours. And you see I've listed what they consider weekday versus weekend, and they're pretty consistent. And what happens when you look at them is they'll all say, these noises are okay between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. So construction is okay between those times. Leaf blowers are okay between those times. Pretty much everything is okay between those times, except for certain specific noises, and they will have some things that are never allowed. But I guess what you want to think about is, do you want to go down this road? And right now we operate under the state statutes, which are pretty broad. So you could narrow it some, but it could be a hot topic. It could be, people will be on both sides of the issues.
Yeah, I did take a look. So New Canaan put one in 2006, but Greenwich put one in 1984.
Yeah.
And Westport just put one in that went into effect actually May 15th of this year, specifically for leaf blowers. And real briefly there is they are limiting the hours for the next year from 8 to 6 on Monday through Friday and 9 to 3 on Saturday. No gas leaf blowers on Sundays or holidays. And then next year, next year, there will be no gas-powered leaf blowers during the summer. And the summer is May 15th to October 15th. So there's a variety of ways to look at this, right? We could look at it as, I think, probably the easiest would be, instead of restricting by the type, we restrict by the hours. And that's, I think what we see a lot. And then, but the other big part is enforcement. And that's always, that's always tricky. I think New Canaan has, I believe it's New Canaan has a fine that goes along with the maximum for the state. And I don't know what the maximum for the state on noise is, but I know the blight amount was just increased from $100 a day to $1,000 a day. So as long as we are as stringent as the state, we can always be more if we create a policy. And then the other kind of thinking is we restrict on time. And then a lot of, like Greenwich has a 55 decibel during the day and a 45 at night. And New Canaan has a 45 throughout. So, I'm giving all of this information because there's a variety of ways that we could do this if we were interested. But I wanted tonight to you know, this is kind of new, so just kind of get a feel from my board, like, is this something you think we should pursue? Or do you want to think about it a little bit more, or are you just pretty much not interested in this? Mike, go ahead.
I think it's something that's really worthy of our review. I think we should look hard at these other ordinances and see how they mesh with the complaints that we're getting. And I mean, just in very brief, I think it's worthy of review, but I think we're still a number of steps away figuring out whether or not there's something that we can craft that would be helpful and is enforceable. Because if it's neither of those two, there's really no point. But I think we should take a hard look to see if there's something that we can do.
John?
Do you have any more granularity on the noise concern or complaints? So in other words, when people say I'm concerned about this particular noise, is it because a leaf blower was going at 3 o'clock in the morning, for example, or are the complaints about these things during the day? And the reason I ask that is that if you look at the schedule of restrictions in some of these other towns, it basically says do what you want during the day, and at night you're not supposed to do that. I mean, I'm oversimplifying. And so if the complaints that we're getting are that people are concerned about that noise sort of during the day and working hours, that's a lot different than if the real problem is the use of this equipment at night or when people are trying to relax on a weekend evening. So
Yeah,
it'd be helpful to get that kind of granularity to kind of hone in on a policy.
I would, you know what, I would say on the, on the garbage, obviously it's, too early in the morning. And, that can be a legitimate complaint. I would say on leaf blowers that, we have people in general that just are opposed to gas powered leaf blowers. But I think that if that's a pretty big lift. I think if we looked at restrictions on hours, that would be a better way to approach this. But we haven't had, John, anybody that said my neighbors, doing their landscaping, at, 10 o'clock at night.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you.
Sarah?
I think it's definitely worthy of a discussion. I know I've had neighbors come and talk to me about various complaints. I often wonder if, in the absence of having some kind of noise policy in place, that maybe garbage trucks or whoever on those routes feel that, okay, well, let's start in Darien because they don't have a policy in place, and we can start there before we can go legally, in Stamford or Norwalk or wherever. Trucks that are coming at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning in the dark, I think that's difficult for neighbors. That's not fair, particularly. I think when you look at some of the parts of Darien that are very tightly residentially packed, right? There's definitely parts of Darien that are 2 acre zone, and they may not hear what their neighbor's garbage truck is doing. But the folks that have the 1/4 acre zoning and so forth, where you've got so many houses and everything is so tight, yeah, it's a definite concern. And I think when the landscapers come and there's 5 guys with gas powered leaf blowers, it can be a nuisance. I think it is worthy of a discussion. To Mike's point, I think we need to look carefully at who's going to be enforcing it and what are the things that we're looking at. But I think many residents have complained about various things, so yeah, I think it's worthy of looking at.
Marcy?
Sure. I agree. I think this is definitely an issue that we need to take a closer look at as well. I also want to be cognizant of the impact that it could have on a business as well, right? Because we're also looking at companies that are all part of this community and how that's going to impact them too. So I think we need to be sensitive to all parties that are involved in this as we move forward.
Okay, so this is what I would suggest, learning from a little bit from the plastic bag ban that I worked on. That I think what would be helpful is if we tightened up what we were thinking, and then we went through the RTM to see which committees there wanted to take this the next step. But I think we need to give them some parameters. So why don't we think about that? We'll get a little bit more. This is a pretty basic outline that Kate did. I think we can tighten this up as far as information to get out to you, and we will come back to it. Any other thoughts on this?
If there's information specifically that you want me to try and research, if you all could just reach out and let me know.
Okay.
Will do, thanks.
Okay, you know what I think I'll do is I'll start this with kind of what I just mentioned, the types of complaints that we've gotten, okay? And then if you have something additional to add to that, that's probably a good place to start, is where the problems are that we've heard about so far, okay? So I'll get something out to you.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Great Island. So I would like to begin by reflecting on the significant journey we've taken over the last few months. On April 3rd of 2023, we made the decision to form the Great Island Advisory Committee. We reached out to our community and we received an overwhelming response from 45 talented and motivated individuals. This response is a testament to the level of commitment and passion within our community for this particular project. I want to say my deepest gratitude goes out to our volunteer Board of Selectmen, members, for their dedication and their commitment to this important project. Their participation, your participation in 10 separate interview sessions and devoting countless hours to carefully consider each applicant demonstrates an extraordinary level of effort and commitment that cannot be overstated. I also wish to extend my thanks to every individual who applied. It was a challenging task for us to narrow down to only 4 members, and we are all sincerely grateful for everyone who expressed an interest. I encourage all applicants to continue their engagement with the town. There will be ample opportunities for everyone to contribute as we work on actualizing our vision for Great Island. So as mandated by our town charter, our committee is composed of an odd number of commissioners. The committee will include 4 Darien residents and 5 town officials who represent various interests, providing broad and balanced perspective. Joining the committee will be Board of Selectmen members John Zagrodzky and Mike Burke, Chair of the Board of Finance, Jim Palin, Chair of the Park and Recreation Commission, Lori Bora, and RTM Representative Mark Adaletta. So now I would like to invite nominations from the Board of Selectmen for the residents at large. Mike?
Thank you, Monica. Bruce Ferguson, software CEO, troubleshooter, problem solver, facility builder. As a town volunteer, Bruce has served on the Darien Information Technology Committee, the boards of the Darien Nature Center, the Darien Library, and the Darien Athletic Foundation, where he was instrumental in helping finally bringing lights to Darien High School. Bruce has also done impressive work as the chair of the Weber Paddle Committee and their Long Range Capital Committee. When asked in his application why he wanted to serve on this committee, Bruce wrote, quote, "We are at a great crossroads where this large parcel of extremely beautiful and useful land needs to be carefully adapted in the best ways possible for the current and future residents of the town of Darien. It gives me great pleasure to move this board to accept the application of Bruce Ferguson and appoint him to membership on the Great Island Advisory Committee."
Thank you, Mike. May I have a motion to appoint Bruce Ferguson to the Great Island Advisory Committee? Mike moves. Second? John seconds. All in favor? That's unanimous. Wonderful. Marcy?
Sure. I'd like to nominate Kip Vissy. Kip came to us with strong organizational skills and an extensive experience in financial management and reporting. He's a 26-year resident of the town of Darien, and he's a 4th-generation Darienite. I believe he had a strong understanding of the sensitivity of this project and is committed to making sure that the design and the purpose serves all residents of Darien. He focused on the environmental impact and the responsibility of our town to be good stewards to the sound waters. Kip has a calm demeanor, and I believe he will be a wonderful and important asset to this committee. I believe he will bring reasonable, realistic, and sustainable ideas to this project and will continue to stay transparent and communicate with all stakeholders. I confidently nominate Kip Vissy to serve on the Great Island Advisory Committee.
Thanks, Marcy. May I have a motion to appoint Kip Vissy to the Great Island Advisory Committee? Marcy moves. Mike seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Sarah?
It gives me great pleasure to nominate Jeff Table to the Great Island Advisory Committee. Jeff comes to the board with a wealth of knowledge and experience in urban planning. He has served as the Director of Community Environmental Planning in Houston, Galveston Area Council, and was responsible for that for 35 years. He has an incredible resume with some incredible projects that he's done, and I'm really looking forward to his wealth of knowledge and experience to bring that guidance to the advisory committee. And I am proud to nominate him, and I look for his second in the motion. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, Sarah moves to appoint Jeff Table to the committee. Do we have a second? Marcy seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. John?
Yeah, thanks, Monica. I'd like to nominate Dan Kolakowski to the commission. He is a truly impressive individual in terms of his background. He has been involved in substantial and large construction projects, exactly like what we may find ourselves engaged in on the island, and recently retired. And so you look at just the list of things that he had spent time on, from the Hudson River Park project to Brooklyn Bridge Park. All these things are multi-$100-million projects where he had direct oversight, all of which ended up being very successful. He came across very well in his interview. He's a very nice guy. He's been here for 40 years and raised his family here, and importantly, recently retired. So he's got the time to spend on this commission, but an impressive individual, and I'm happy to submit his name for nomination to this committee.
Okay, so John moves. Daniel Kolakowski. Do we have a second? Mike seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Terrific. Okay, so thank you for your nominations. Our committee is now officially formed. The initial responsibilities for the committee are outlined in the charter and include key functions such as appointing a chairman, vice chairman, and secretary, overseeing professionals and consultants, developing infrastructure plans that will enable residents to safely access the property, develop the development of operating and capital budget estimates, and ensuring transparency through regular reports to the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, and the RTM. All committee-related information, including the charge and frequently asked questions, is available on the website. And I encourage all committee members to review both of these documents at their earliest convenience. Both documents have a lot of information in them. The process of shaping Great Island to meet the needs of Darien has just begun. Our first meeting will take place as soon as we agree on a suitable date. My office will send out a poll with options on either Wednesday or Thursday to coordinate this. And we are looking forward to working together on this important addition to the town we love. So thank you again, everyone. Really, thank you. Okay. Great on. Next item on the agenda is we received in our packet an endorsement from the Police Commission for an appointment of Thomas Courtney Isaac as Special Constable of the Town of Darien for a term ending on June 30th, 2025. And I was also contacted by the president of the Tokenique Association, and the Tokenique Association board endorses this constable also. So is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to appoint Thomas Courtney Isaac as special constable of the town of Darien for a term ending on June 30th, 2025. Mike moves. Second, John seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is review of the minutes of June 19th. Are there any comments, additions, deletions? Okay, I have a couple. I think we had a lot of street names. Some of them were shortened. So I would just do a little spell check on the names and of the streets, and also add the Great Island update into that packet. And I think that's all I had for that. So with those adjustments, amendments, additions, may I have a motion to approve as amended? Sarah moves. Mike seconds. All in favor? Terrific. Okay, next item is review and approve the minutes of the June 19th special meeting that we had before the regular, or inside the regular meeting. So any edits, deletions, corrections there? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve as presented? John moves. Marcy seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Terrific. Any agenda items for future? Seeing none, I just want to say thank you, all of you, for spending July 3rd taking care of town business. You know, we get stuff done, and I really appreciate you beaming in from all of your respective places, some a little more exciting than others, looking at you, Marcy. But hey, I hope everybody has a terrific July 4th, and see you in a couple of weeks. May I have a motion to
Happy
adjourn?
4th, everyone.
Happy 4th.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Sarah moves. John seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
See you later.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.